This Pocket Change is exploring whether your change is actually right. We want to get under the hood of your change. If you aren't currently going through a change at the minute, don't worry, there's still plenty of value that you can get. The content that we've got and the conversation that we have is still super practical, and we want to give you ways to establish change clarity, get a clear understanding of what you're doing and why, to create some approaches to how you want to face into the changes now and in the future. When we talk about the right change, we're not talking about the perfect change outcomes. I would tell you any day of the week that change isn't perfect, no matter how much planning you do or what capability you invest in it. And to be honest, perfect shouldn't be your ambition. Good change is what we're aspiring for here. Doesn't feel very fancy, does it? But that's probably for the best. When you experience good change, you'll realise there's nothing average about it at all. It is fan-bloody-tastic. And what do we know about good change? It will always need to adjust, adapt, and change course. One day your change may even need to stop. If we make every decision based on where we are, what we know, and I mean actually what we know, not what we think we know, and what your people can cope with, then your change will probably be the right one. And that change will still need to adapt its course, but it shouldn't bloody implode. Here we go. There are only two real types of change, planned and unplanned. That's it, two. Planned changes tend to be when an organisation is proactive about change, seeking it out, horizon scanning, linked to direct evidence or ideas or strategic intent. Planned change by its very nature takes the road a lot smoother, establishing or deploying change early. Unplanned changes are often a bit more reactionary to a problem or an opportunity. We didn't see it coming, we weren't ready, and now it is here and shit. Reactive and unplanned changes tend to happen in organisations that are too busy to change and find themselves deploying changes to mitigate issues that ambush them. They seem to scramble after opportunities they identify late in the game. Think about your change. Be honest. Where do you land? Planned and unplanned change create two very different change environments. Planned, by its very nature, often comes with a level of order and control. It comes with better viability of what you're up against, about what the road ahead looks like. And because of that, we're going to focus on how we tackle unplanned change and the feelings and experiences of chaos that often come with it. Dealing with chaos is always about getting some stability as soon as possible. You cannot deliver in chaos. No, not even you. And here's how we're going to do it. We need to get some order. That's not sarcasm. You have to work with what you can nail down and actually give it some stability. Be critical and challenging about the change. Does it really need to happen now? If not, stop it. It won't help anybody. If yes, if it absolutely has to carry on, what is the minimum you need to do to solve where you are, to take away your current pain? Create time to really understand what needs to happen, to get that minimum solution in place and start to shape that in a planned way. And then establish the core of your change in a way that is planned, controlled, and as unchaotic as possible. Changes thrive, change leaders thrive under a bit of pressure. We all do. But it doesn't thrive when the ground is moving, the sands are shifting, and everything feels like chaos. So pop your superhero cape back on the coat hook and take 5 minutes to identify that one thing you can do within your change that will calm a little bit of chaos. Find something that can take the fizz away. It will feel better. Do that now. When we've stopped thinking about planned and unplanned changes, there's a terrible other change that crops up, which I bat down like whack-a-mole. Transformations. Don't get me started. If I've got my pitch right, if we've spoken, if you know who we are, it's unlikely that you'll be punting for a transformation right now. Because the goal of a transformation is to reinvent a total organisation, a brand new you. It needs so much more than your average change, and probably more help than pocket change. Why split hairs? Let me explain. Change, or the process of change management, is focused on implementing finite initiatives, which may or may not cut across your organisation. It's how you get from one place to the next. The focus is on executing a well-defined shift in the way things work. It's not easy, but we can handle it because the core of your organisation remains the same, or at least relatively stable. Transformation is another animal altogether. It's a cacophony of initiatives which are related and cross-cutting and possibly undermining each other. Its job isn't to shift, it's to reinvent and transform the world. It's more unpredictable, iterative, and experimental. It will come with high risks and high rewards. So you'll need an iron gut to take on one, where the total failure is actually a real outcome. But where there is still a desire to transform, a weird need to declare a transformational or transformative journey, it's often made worse by prefixing it with agile, digital, or organisational in the hope that it will feel fancier or deliver better. And then, my personal favourite is when we give them a bloody name. Dropping a quirky name will not make your change more relatable or accessible. Neither will a logo. If you're reading this, it's not reading it. I'll just go to the beginning of the paragraph.
No, it's fine if you want to go from if you're listening to this.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. If you're listening to this and you're feeling the transformation vibe, I want to challenge you because I reckon if you're honest and out of the eyes of your board or your exec, what you're up against might be a really whopping change, but it's not a transformation. Not convinced? Reflect on your change and see if you can articulate the scale of change based on the impact to colleagues or customers. Use a scale of small to massive. Whether it is planned, a good time before you started listening to this, or unplanned, maybe you only found out this week. Use a scale of planned to unplanned to work this one out. If your organisation is in change order or chaos, think about that from a scale of order through to chaos. If you've answered massive, planned and order, I'll let you call it a transformation, if only to move us off this subject. But if you've answered massive, unplanned and chaos, my advice is to hit the brakes now and do anything in between, but do not do what you're planning on. We might all need to change. We might have to change. Perhaps we should change. We might simply want to. Clarity during change is the best thing to have. It's also essential if you want to bring people with you, the linchpin for delivering well, and it's pretty easy to get. Articulating change challenges away from strategy documents, big presentations, and flouncy, exciting postcard statements is where the money's at. And I'm very sorry if you're listening to this and you've just crafted the most perfect change ambition and printed it all over promotional postcards and stuck it on the backs of toilet doors. Why? Because in the clear light of day, when you're not a board that needs to be appeased or seduced, it just comes down to you and the change in hand. In order to rise to that challenge ahead, you need clarity on what you are doing and why you are doing it. With this, you can have a clear line of sight about the things that are going to be in your way, the things you need to get to, and where you are heading. Without it, you're not going to go very far, and you're certainly not going to have a lot of fun. We only ever use 5 questions when we're trying to understand why you are changing. Ask yourself, what is changing? Can you articulate it? Can you find all the moving parts, all the teams, all the people, all the processes? Why are they changing? Why do you need them to be different from where you are now? And why are you changing now? What has the current timescale got to do with it? Why is that important? My 2 favourite questions are around understanding the risk of not changing, but also pinning down what is not changing. People like anchors and stability. Your ability to balance the effort to change against the risk of not changing, and to give the security and the comfort of anchors that will stay put and stay strong, will help your people stay with you and understand their role and their place. Your ability to answer these questions means you can articulate the heart of your change away from the drama. The core of your change can be captured in 5 sentences. You can use it as a change compass to help you make decisions, tackle problems, and build confidence. This is what you are here to lead. Answer these questions. What is changing? Why are you changing? What is staying the same? What is the risk of not changing? And why now? If you can do that, you can refer back to it. You can do work that supports it rather than contradicts it. And the day you are not able to stay honest to these answers, you need to stop, reset, review, and decide whether you need to go again. The journey to the right change isn't mine to give you. Only you will ever know if the change is right. But there are lots of ways that you can articulate it for your people so you can understand better ways to get there. One of our favourite ways of doing this is through a theory of change, which can be created right at the start of your change strategy. And you can use it to describe something that is in progress or something that is about to begin. We would always advocate for doing this at the start. But if you're listening to this and you're already waist deep in the change, don't worry, you can still do it. You can capture the template in your pocket change guide that you've got. But the most important thing to remember is that a theory of change has to be real. You cannot, you should not overinflate it or skim over the details. You need to have an idea of the activities, events, or actions that you need to take so that you know what you are signing up to. And where possible, you should be looking to use previous insight to support the development. Do it with what you have, making sure that you know your people and your capability and the capacity that sits around it. You should create it with your people. Help them bring it to life by defining and drafting and shaping it to a point where you have a general agreement that it feels right and achievable. And you need to give as much detail as possible. A theory of change sits across 4 key areas. It wants you to identify and articulate your problem. What is the need you have? What has to change and why? And then the context. Tell a bit about where your organisation is. Tell a bit about that story. Help people see and understand what's happening. And then identify the key strategic areas that are affected. This could be parts of your organisation. It could be teams. It could be individuals. But start to highlight where the impact of your change will be hitting. And then the final bit, which is often the place we all try and run to, is outcomes. Identify the outcomes that you're looking to achieve over a short, medium, and long-term time span. Help you articulate something that will help you stay grounded in reality, and it will be understood by those who created it with you, with measurable and clear outcomes. It will not tell you if your change is right, but it will give you an indication to spot if maybe you're not delivering the outcomes you had hoped for, and give you the opportunity for a course correction. Defining your change this way increases its likelihood to be the thing you need because of the work you have done together to get here.